Hello and welcome to another Sequire Spotlight. I'm Jonathan Miller, Vice President of Business Development for Schrax. And today we're joined by Joe Reed, CEO of CuraScientific, ticker symbol CSTF on the OTCQB. Joe, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thanks for having me, man. Thank you.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about the company. We understand that you're a bioscience company that develops alternative lifestyle services. Would you mind elaborating a little bit more about that for our audience?
Absolutely. Yeah. So personally, as well as most of my team that I've developed, we've been in the alternative lifestyle industry, more specifically plant-based alternatives, for now myself 13, going on 13 years, and most of my team like close to a decade. Even some with even a little bit longer than a decade, and even longer than myself, with items like the kava root, kratom root, even the cannabis and the CBD industry, and really what our main focus is unlike, other companies that specialize in just one of these areas, is that we actually are treating this as an actual alternative lifestyle company as far as alternatives to prescription medication, alcohol, things that are mind altering, that just just help you live more of a plant-based living, which is something that's really on the upswing right now in society, and that's actually very needed, actually.
Absolutely. I definitely see an emerging sector in these different products. What are the current revenue and profitability figures for the company?
Well, right now, as of last year in 2022, we did $1.2 million in revenue, where when we started really focusing our efforts strongly in the new direction of alternative healing, and not just having these separated out and just kind of all hands on deck in one direction. We're already seeing we're already trending right now at about 1.7 this year, just on the retail side of things. Wholesale being a rocky start in the beginning of the year, only because we were restructuring the team. We look to be doing about the same or a little bit more than that on the wholesale side of the business, where we're actually servicing other retailers and other distributors with these alternative lifestyle products. Again, that being kava, kratom, CBD, and also even cannabis. And we're also vertically integrated, and we're becoming, I guess you could say, even more vertically integrated on a bigger scale this year, that we're currently working on, and I guess you can say constructing right now. And then we look to streamline our profits even more after that's complete. But right now we're running at about, which is kind of unheard of in this industry, about a 25% profit margin. Where some areas like cannabis, for instance, is a lot less profit margin, where kava and kratom is a much higher profit margin. So it really balances out to where, I think that, I mean, for lack of a better term, like we're just smashing it out of the park in that area, where, we're not seeing, I'm not meeting any other companies in any one of these areas that has the profitability that we have right now. And I can strongly say that, that we'll probably be even more in the positive, come later this year.
That's tremendous. And could you speak a little bit more to these growth projections and how these numbers have evolved over the past few years?
Yeah, I think the number one, it's been the vertical integration of what we're doing. Like I found very early on with all of these products, that common sense obviously would tell you that company that's more vertically integrated and vertically operating, making their own products, sourcing their own biomass and things, are going to be more profitable. But then also just really streamlining the team, the operations, where the product's ending up, not oversaturating ourselves in different markets and different areas, has really, really helped the profitability of what we're doing. And I feel like we're just really getting started with this. Like, even though I've been doing this for now going on 13 years, I have a newly found excitement about what I'm doing, because I'm noticing that it's not only something that's really needed and our profit margins are looking healthier, but it's also something that the world is really, like you had mentioned earlier, it's something that the world really needs right now. And so I really think that we're hitting that hot button, where we have a company that's becoming more profitable every month. We also have an industry that is really taking off and booming. And that's what statistics even say right now, is that the world is looking for alternatives to regular, prescribed medication and things that are just unhealthy for your body. We're able to help with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I understand that the alternative lifestyle services industry, just in California alone, is expected to reach 6.59 billion by 2025. How large is the actual market for these agricultural products?
Oh,
And what's the competition like?
well, the competition is there is definitely some competition, but I've yet to find a company, and they're probably out there, but I've yet to find a company that's actually doing what we're doing. Where, there's obviously companies that are producing and selling cannabis products. There's also companies that are producing and selling kava and kratom products and CBD products, but there's not a company that I can find that's actually putting all of these products together and really going to the consumer with, again, alternatives to prescription medication, drugs and alcohol and things. And so when it comes to the competition, it kind of depends on what you consider the competition, because I can't really consider a cannabis company competition. I can't really consider a regular kratom or kava retailer or wholesaler competition, because we kind of have put everything under one roof. But the industry itself is huge. I mean, last year, if I'm taking just cannabis into the equation, last year, no, 2021, actually, there was $5.1 billion that was purchased just in legal cannabis market, and $1.8
Wow.
million just in $1.8 billion in the legal kava, which kava is legal in every state, and it's not a controlled substance the way cannabis is. But there's $1 billion in kava root sales, and for the average consumer, they might not even know what kava is. But then when you start diving into that alternative lifestyle world and start looking into things that are better for your body than prescription medication and alcohol and things like that, kava is a huge benefit for that. So to already be to be tapping into an industry that's already doing over $1 billion in business, and to be doing something different and bringing it more to a person's doorstep, a little bit easier, and educating the community easier. I think we could be a huge player in that market. And then kratom, again, that's our third main product that we're producing now and getting to consumers. That product is such a huge benefit to people that, again, are looking to change up their lifestyle, get off prescription medication, use healthier alternatives for anxiety and sleep and things. And so, we've kind of created a powerhouse here on what we're doing, I believe. I know that's kind of a stretch to say, but I really think that we're doing something really cool here with what we're building and developing, for sure.
That's fantastic. Now, a two-part question. Is there education that you provide on these various types of products? And as far as competition goes, you mentioned that you really don't see any as far as your space is concerned. So what are the main competitive advantages, second part, and what kind of educational resources do you have that interested parties can look into?
So in the last 6 months, I've really been working closely with the farmers that develop these products, the biomass to produce these products, for the education part, to kind of, I guess the easiest way to explain it is to educate people that don't know about these products, from the seed basically to the sale on things. And so our websites, that we're finishing up the newest edit of the CuraScientific website, that'll have all the links needed for all the education, all the way down to the end users' testimonials on these products, starting with the farmer education, to the production education, to even just our education on how we produce products and why we think our products are the right products to use. I've gone as far recently as to reaching out to labs that don't do that there's never been any standardized testing on kava and kratom itself. And I've reached out to labs to kind of help hopefully get some standardized testing in place for those particular products. Because right now they're leaves, basically. Essentially, they're leaves and roots. And so just like at one time, cannabis and CBD didn't have standardized testing, I think that it's time for kava and kratom to have standardized testing. And so all of that education will be put on our websites, and we're going to monetize, a lot of our YouTube channels, our socials, and just really get that out there into the market, to where people, if they are looking for a product like ours, they find us, like, we have the education to back it, for a person that just has no idea what they're looking for, really, to know if this is going to be right for them to use.
Excellent. And as far as the manufacturing, the processing, even are there any proprietary technologies or services that differentiate?
Yes. So what we've been able to do is so on the cannabis side, this isn't new. There's cannabis processing is something that there's over I believe there's 12 if all licenses are still intact. There's about 1,200 Type 7 production labs just for cannabis in the state of California, where they produce various different cannabis items from tinctures to vape products and things of that nature. Where in the kava and kratom sector, again, I haven't found very many people that are actually doing that. Where we're now we're working on and actually already have started producing products that are more nanoized, so you can put into your own drinks, turning it into more instant forms. So there's not so much. So if a person, for instance, up until about 6 months ago, if a person bought kava or kratom, it was in a powder form. And so, they didn't really know what to do with it. It was very earthy, tastes kind of bad. And so we've been able to nanoize some of those things, and where you can put them in mocktails, you can take them in a capsule form, things of that nature. And so we are really working on within between now and the end of this year. I really feel that we're going to be a one-stop shop for all of these different products, to where not only for ourselves, but for other retailers to private label their own brands, hopefully get on some bigger distributors radars that are selling similar products. And I just think I think we're going to have something pretty cool here in the next couple months, that it's going to be make for some really cool announcements, especially for our investors and stockholders. I think that's going to be pretty cool.
We look forward to following the story. Now, the alternative lifestyle industry and products is a rapidly emerging industry. We've seen everything from cannabis to psilocybin to other psychedelics, including the products that you've mentioned, kratom and kava. What's your plan to stay ahead of the curve in this changing environment?
Keep working and keep actually caring about what we do, because this is not just a commodity for me. These are products that I firmly believe in myself. I'm really big on what I put in my body. Everything from exercise to keeping the mind right. We have some other products that I take on a daily basis, but we haven't started working with, like cacao and ashwagandha, which I probably pronounced wrong, like my wife says. And these type of items that we're also working on. And we really want to just continue to stay ahead of the curve. I don't want to I don't want to sound like I am the guy in this industry, but at the same point, I think we're pretty far along when it comes to the kava and kratom side of things, and even in some cases the cannabis side of things, with what we're doing. Because unless I just haven't found them yet, I don't see any other companies that are really hyper focused on what we're doing the way we're doing it. We don't plan to be just smoke shop products, for lack of a better term. We plan to be a mainstream product to help people, get healthy, both physically and mentally, with our products. And I think we're on the road to do that.
That's fantastic. And with the blossoming popularity of these different products, do you see any pending regulatory changes that may come into the industry?
I think on the kava kratom side of things, I think that we're pretty good. I think that fight's been fought for us, before I got involved. Fortunately, I think on the cannabis side of things, I think that there's a lot of bills that need to be passed. I think that legislation is working on some new things to help us in that industry, make this more of a mainstream commodity. I think we're in a good direction. I think everything is looking pretty good. I know banking is right around the corner for cannabis. I know our other products with kava and kratom, there's no banking issues with those. CBD is kind of a fine line, but we've established banking for that. But I think everything's looking good.
That's always great to hear. And tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got involved with the company, and also about the management team, and anything else you'd like to touch on for the audience.
Well, I've been in the alternative, I guess you could say, in this industry, both with kava, kratom, cannabis, CBD, all together in this type of industry for 13 years. I'm personally sober. I don't drink. I don't use any type of mind altering substances. So kava and kratom are big for me when it comes to ADHD or just sleep issues. Instead of taking a melatonin or things, I've taken kava and kratom. And I really, like I said, I really live the lifestyle that I preach here with work. So does my management team. You go into a lot of offices, and not that there's anything necessarily wrong with that, where guys after work, they want to go grab a beer and go and watch football or something. Like my whole team is really focused on their health and what they're putting in their bodies, and it can show because I'm 45 years old and I feel like I run circles around guys 35 years old most of the time, just because I care about what I'm doing. Our management team is super strong. Like I feel like there was some necessary turnover in the last year with some of the team, but our core team of management, these guys have been with me, I think 7 to 10 years is about the average rate these guys are length that these guys have been with me, and minus some of the retail operations. There's some turnover last year at first that was a little scary, but we've got some amazing people that are more focused than ever in those positions, and we're really just we're just plugging along. We're just workhorses over here. We're just making things happen.
That's excellent. And I think your message and your lifestyle are strong attractors towards investors in the space. And before we depart, would you like to share anything else with our audience? Share your website with us where we can keep track of your progress?
Absolutely. Well, our website is CuraScientificCorp.com. It might be down when the time we're doing this interview, but I'm sure it's aired, it'll be up. We're just doing some edits. We wanted to make sure that there was no stock footage, that everything that you see on that website is actually stuff that we're doing, and that every word on that website is correct and not just an assumption. So we want to make sure that was completely dialed in before this interview's aired. And then really just, I honestly, in my personal opinion, think that if you're an investor in this space, in this alternative lifestyle space, that, we're definitely a company to not only look at, but if you're going to put some money into something, I think that we're a pretty safe bet. We live this lifestyle. This isn't just, we're not, somebody the other day said that, they have a buddy that sells hamburgers that's a vegan. And I said, well, I could never do that. I have to believe in what I'm doing. And we firmly as a team believe in what we're doing. And we have no plans on slowing down. Like, we plan to, perform and do what we say we're going to do here to the best of our abilities, for sure.
Amazing. Well, we personally look forward to following your story. And Joe, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today and share Cura Scientific's story. And again, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day, man.
Absolutely.